Good morning and welcome to the new edition of Be Yourself, Develop Your Personality. We have always been talking of free will. And are you aware that the free will can help you increase your happiness? Attitudes towards free will have been varying all over. Different cultures, different views about free will. But what is free will? Free will is the ability to take independent choices where the outcome is not influenced by the past events. And of course, because of its wide implications, the existence of free will has been the subject of debate. And the debate has been between the psychologists, neuroscientists, and philosophers. Kant and Hegel, on the one side, have been advocates of that, but all religious leaders essentially are against free will. Because for them, free will means not adhering to the dictates of God who predetermines your life and your actions. And that predetermination makes you act the way you act. While the belief in free will is a definite advantage because it makes you more human. As a matter of fact, the different cultures, as I said earlier, have a different approach. The Western culture is more inclined towards free will and assumes that when a man exercises free will, even if he or she is not successful, there is an internal happiness because his or her actions have resulted in certain consequences, and those consequences cannot in any way diminish from the capability of the endeavors. The Eastern cultures, by and large, are pluralistic, clannish, and tribal. So what the society thinks, what your peer group thinks, what the family thinks is more important than your own free will. And you have to crush your identity and your individuality to adhere to the norms set up by the system that prevails, be the values be of the family, of the tribe, of religion, or of any other social peer group, or not so peer group. And that is why there is more honor killing. But I was amazed that Delhi University in China conducted a research and they came to a conclusion that 85% of the Chinese teenagers expressed a belief in free will. And China is basically clannish society. And these 85% of the teenagers not only believe in free will, but also they believe that free will and happiness coexist. They are positively correlated. You cannot have happiness if you don't exercise free will, and the exercise of the free will is conducive to your happiness. Now, argument against free will is that each decision we take is completely influenced by our previous life's experience, either in this life or in the lives prior to our birth. So, given a certain choice, that experience inherited from the past life or inherited from the past experience, will trigger us to respond in a certain way. And that response is not free choice. That is dictated. That is modulated choice. And as such, is not free will. And the different perspectives on free will can and they do color thinking of concepts. And the concepts are personal responsibility, guilt, ambition, forward planning. If you don't believe in free will, you can always say, well, I'm not responsible. Whatever I have done is because of the desire of God or because of my earlier karma. What a way out. And since you are not personally responsible, you are not guilty. But it also inhibits and restricts your ambition. You are going to be what you are going to be. You can't do anything. So why exercise labor? And then why plan? So no forward planning as well. Now that sort of an attitude has been responsible for most of the ills in the Eastern society. When the Muslims and then the Britishers came to India, most of the people thought that this has got to happen. So why protest? Why fight? And the result was what we have seen in the history. Interestingly, many studies conducted show that the people who believe in free will are happier than those who do not free will. And as has been seen by Professor Lee of Delhi University, even the Chinese confirm it. Now why I'm talking of the China? Why should the phenomena be different in China? This is primarily because China and India represent that thought of Confucianism, Buddhism, Hinduism that believes in your actions being dictated by your life experience as well as the experience of your past lives. You cannot cut the umbilical cord of your experience of what has happened to you earlier or what has been predestined for you. So, the people in the Western and Eastern culture have different core values. Western culture, as I said earlier, is individualistic. People are largely focused on personal achievements. Eastern culture is more focused on the group goals, and competition is common, yes, but it is less muted in Eastern culture. And incidentally, because of the core values being different, you will see more honor killing in East than in the West. So the collective cultures like Hinduism, like Chinese Confucianism, like Japan's Shintoism, they tend to focus more on group goals. Such groups can be the work group, can be family, but they are less focused on the personal freedom. And have you seen that the people in the Western countries with increased happiness, better work performance, better academic achievements, and less negative behavior like cheating? Here if somebody cheats, he will say, well, look here, I was destined to be a cheat. Not so in the West. But at the same time, we cannot forget that the Western participant materially discouraging belief in free will has resulted in aggression and decreased self-control. So, the belief in free will and happiness is investigative research shows that free will cause happiness directly not only indirectly. The free will be linked to individualist efforts on happiness, regardless whether you believe in individualistic or collective influences. Now the point is, does it always lead to happiness? Yes. Human being is by nature inclined to be adventurous. It can fail many a times. But the very fact that they try to make an effort gives them a certain satisfaction. You know the line in Ulysses by Tennyson, to strive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. That's important, not to yield. Constant striving, constantly making effort. That is human nature. And even when they fail in that, it gives them certain sense of gratification, certain sense of happiness, at times ecstasy. Now, what happens when you don't exercise free will? You are motivated or persuaded by the dictates of your family group, of your social group, of your culture group. There is no sense of achievement when you do something because you were destined to do it or you were directed to do it. And when the sense of achievement is not there, there cannot be real happiness. Real happiness comes to you only when there is a sense of having achieved something. Or even if you don't achieve it, in the satisfaction of having attempted to achieve something, the result is immaterial. A belief that somebody can act to achieve their goals and desires, increase levels of perceived autonomy, and help facilitate self-control and deliberate effort to achieve those goals. And if the outcome is successful, that is happiness squared, increased exponentially. Strengthening a belief in free will makes people pursue happiness. And there is a problem. Now, some people think that belief in the Almighty makes them able to survive the adversities. Yes, it does. But if you have faith in yourself, you will survive the adversities still better. It is not a question of having faith in an outside agency. It's having a faith. Faith can be in an outside agency, faith can be within you. And when you have got faith in you, when you have got self-confidence, then the sense of achievement is much more and happiness is much more. Secondly, when you exercise free will, you are mentally measuring the outcome and the effort put in. What the economist or the businessman will say, return on investment. The investment is your efforts. The return is the achievement. And there is an X factor in that, and the X factor is satisfaction in doing something. Failing or succeeding is immaterial. The very fact that you have attempted to do something, cut off from the umbilical cords of your pressure groups, makes you a man apart. And when I say man, I include women. Incidentally, let me say one thing more, that ordinarily, one-to-one, women believe more in free will than men do. They are mentally attuned to make choices. Even in the Eastern cultures, where the women are inhibited from making choices, instinctively they make choices. In a simple family group, very conventional, the housewife will make a choice right from the time she gets up in the morning till she goes to bed. The choices may be very simple and very mundane and ordinary, but the choices are there. And it is these choices that make the drudgery of the housework livable for them. They are aware that these choices give them or impart to their personality a certain meaning, a certain sense of achievement, a certain satisfaction, and that satisfaction gives them happiness. So, until and unless you exercise free will, until and unless you firmly believe that the choices are a deliberate action and your choice resulting in a certain goal may not be successful or may be successful, but going towards that goal, trying to achieve that goal, is a satisfaction by itself. And that gives you happiness. You have done something. When a child walks and takes one faltering step, his joy is unbounded. That is a pure joy, pure happiness of having done something. And believe me, you can do things only if you exercise free will. Otherwise, you are doing it, but you are not doing it with your heart. You are not doing it out of conscious choice. You are doing it as a drudgery. Free will takes the drudgery out of even the most boring routine job and makes you a happier, more contented soul. Exercise free will and be happy. Thank you.